This is Amish Agarwal. I'm an advocate practicing in Delhi, and today I'll talk about the immense rigors of the POXO Act, which is the Protection of Children Against Sexual Offences Act. There is a lot of material out there on the internet and everywhere else about what the provisions are to protect children, what the provisions are to protect the victims, how to punish the perpetrators. But very one interesting thing that I have seen happen from time to time is that if a person is falsely accused, be it a man or a woman, irrespective of gender, if they are accused of any offense which is punishable under the POXO Act, no matter no matter if they can, of course, be acquitted in the future if the allegations turn out to be false. But if a person is falsely accused under the POXO Act, what happens is this nightmare starts where you are arrested no matter what happens. It is very, very difficult to get bail for you, no matter how much of evidence you might have in your favor to support your claim and to rebut the claim of the prosecution that you are guilty. Now, I have seen these two situations very, very recently, which kind of remind me of all the madness which is out there when it comes to the POXO Act. A couple of months ago, these people came to me, they told me the maid that they had in their house went to the police, told them that her one of the bosses, there was a family full of people, but this particular man, a married man with children, man with whom apparently it is suspected that they had consensual physical relations. She said that he used to force himself on her, and he forced himself on her for several months, and on not just inside the confines of the house, but also at the shop that they used to run. They used to take her to the shop together, used to keep her over there, and used to force himself on her there as well. Let's forget about the fact that she had a mobile phone with her the entire time that she was in employment with these people. Let's forget about the fact that she had a boyfriend who everyone in the neighborhood knew about, who was a working boy in some other house in the neighborhood. Let alone the fact that this house where she apparently said that this man used to force himself on her was full of not just the relatives of the accused person, but also tenants and other neighbors in the same building and in the adjacent buildings who would have constant interactions with the girl. Now, the one big mistake that a lot of people do in all sorts of criminal cases, and this happened here as well, what happens is that they feel whatever evidence that they have which favors the defense, they keep with themselves, or they talk about with themselves, or they mention it to the cops, but they don't take it to court. Even in bail applications, they hardly ever mention these things. They don't move any applications. On other occasions, I've talked about the benefit of Section 91 of the Criminal Procedure Code and how you can use that to call for these documents, or the documents that you have them, to have the police consider them at the appropriate stage of investigation itself. People don't do that. These people did not do it. That man, last I heard, when these people had come for a consultation, the family of the accused person, that person had already spent about 1.5 years in jail on the allegation of this woman, who was, by the way, an adult. But she bypassed it and even invoked POXO because it is applicable only on children or on persons below the age of 18 years. She was able to bypass it by saying that I am 17 years of age, and when I was 14, I had been working for the past 3 or 4 years, of 14, 15. From the age of 14 or 15, I've been working where I've been constantly being raped. Whereas the truth of the matter is that upon the bone ossification test, which is a test which is done to ascertain the age came out to be around 21 years of the person, which means that all things considered, the woman was either 17 or 18 years of age on the day she joined her employment. But the police say that POXO will still be invoked because of the fact that we are not sure since what date the incident started. And ultimately, in a situation like this, there is a guaranteed acquittal because there is a lot of material which favors the accused person. But the fact that you're stuck in jail for God knows how much, 1.5, almost 2 years, is something that is you cannot get out of that damage ever. And the reason why I'm making this video as well is because just day before yesterday, I got in touch with this person who consulted me back in March about the illegal arrest of his brother. Now, what happened in this particular case was that in a city in Haryana, the wife of the accused person used to run a play school where the parents of the child went to get their child admitted, baby girl perhaps around 2 or 3 or 4 years of age. Now they paid some 15,000-20,000 rupees, and when they did not like that kindergarten school that was being run, they said, give us our money back. The principal said, no, I'm not going to give this money back because this money is non-refundable. So what they do is they tell their child, they take the child to the police. The child tells the police, gives the statement that a person in this particular play school took me inside a room, took off my clothes and molested me. Now, you know what? I don't know what actually happened. So I'm going to believe the version of the accused person or the accused person's family who are telling me this, that the accused person, who is the husband of the principal of that play school, actually lived and worked as a teacher almost 100 kilometers away in another city in Haryana itself. And the police, upon taking the statement of the girl, came to a deduction, of course after a little bit of direction being given by the girl's parents, that this was the man living 100 kilometers away who had come and molested the little girl. Now these persons, the family of the accused person who was in custody, who was arrested in February of 2020, bail applications were filed. One was rejected. After that, lockdown happened, and apparently the state of Haryana is not very, very active when it comes to the liberty of its citizens. That person is still in jail. And you know what? I forgot about it. I told them a couple of things. I told them what to do. And they said, all right, we're going to do that. And I lost touch. And then day before yesterday, I reached out to that relative who had hired me for that consultation. And I asked him, what happened? Is your brother out now? The person says no. I asked them, did you file that application under section 91 that I suggested you do, that I gave you a draft of, that I told you should do? He says no. I asked why. He said, the lawyer that we have engaged in the matter right now said that we should not do it. I lost my shit. To be honest, I became so angry that I kept shouting at him for no fault of his. But what else do I do? Just because the brother is inside jail for the past almost 5, 6 months, 7 months now, and these people, they try their best. They mean well. But when a lawyer shuts them down, they're not able to do anything. Of course, that's always a lesson in all these stories. Lawyers, including me, can never be 100% effective. Everyone has their days, bad days, good days. Sometimes we are effective, sometimes we are not effective. And that's why I always tell all my clients, always consult as many lawyers as you can. I am not going to be hellbent or have an ego about any of my matters or say that I know better than anyone else. If after evaluating everything, whatever comes to be the best strategic move, even if it doesn't come from me, we'll go for that, because your life, your liberty, your money, your freedom, all of that is at stake, not mine. And I told this person, get to it. And one of the simplest things that this person could have done in this POCSO matter is get the attendance register. In fact, this person told me that he has a copy of the attendance register, which shows that on the day that the girl says that this person molested me, at the same time that this little baby girl says that he molested me, he was actually 100 kilometers away at the same time teaching classes in that school, which is, to my mind, unimpeachable evidence. However, the same has not seen any light of day in the court. And of course, the story remains the same. I took and I showed it to the investigating officer, who said, I don't know what to do with it. You take it back with you. That is the atrocious criminal justice system. And that is one of the examples of how a lot of occasions, not just these two, and these two just come at the right off the bat. There are so many instances where POCSO is misused. Of course, it's a powerful piece of legislation passed by the parliament with a lot of good in mind. However, this act and several other acts, which I will talk about in the future about, these acts, when they assume so much blind power and they assume the guilt of the accused person, that is where a true travesty of justice happens. People are arrested and they stay in jail for months and months and years until the trial concludes, and then the person is ultimately acquitted. But until then, the damage is done. In this particular case, 15,000 rupees, 15 or 20,000 rupees was the amount which the parents wanted, and they thought there is a powerful legislation which we can use to our advantage to extort money from these people. So let's do that. Let us try to remember, if you ever face any situation like this, rush to court immediately, avail of your remedies, try your best possible extent to mount an offensive rather than wait for the police to show up at your doorstep, for you to be arrested, and then your hapless, clueless relatives to run around trying to get bail for you. That's all for today. If you like this video, please press the like button. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel and spread the word. Thanks a lot.